all different walks of life, right? That come in, you have some that are from different races, different sexes, different sexual orientations, different religions, you know. So you have to have some inclusion in your organization, agency, and leadership position. You have to be organized. Organized. So Stephen Covey gave this thing, I believe it was Stephen Covey, that talks about this, and I've done some lectures with this, and I've even taught it to my children, right, of the 5 P's. Who can tell me what the 5 P's are? Yes, sir.
Proper preparation prevents poor performance.
Proper preparation prevents poor performance, right? So if you're properly prepared, you will not perform improperly. So I appreciate that, sir. You remember.
Proper preparation prevents poor performance.
Yep. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. If you're properly prepared, you can perform excellent. Okay? So then negotiate. Negotiate. In your vision, you gotta make room for growth. This is where negotiating comes from. You gotta make room for growth. Because you may set a goal for here, here, and here, but then you gotta be able to change that around at a certain point. I'll tell you something I learned from Gary Vaynerchuk. He said that with a company, fall in love with your clients, not with your product. Fall in love with your clients, not with your product. See, and that leads right back to service. Why should you fall in love with your client, not your products? Products can change. People can make better products. But if you fall in love with your clients, who are your loyal base, right, then they can go out and tell others about your service, whether the product is the same or not. Fall in love with your clients.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
What would you say would be the hardest of those 6 components, or the most difficult to master? Yeah.
It's the negotiation.
Okay.
Because many people are so tightly gripped on their product and proud of their product that they don't make room for growth in their evolution of their client, business relationship. And so therefore, if I have this, for instance, the Sony Walkman, how good do you think the Sony Walkman would do in 2019 as sales of a product? Not too good at all, because number one, people are digitally streaming everything. Number two, not even the iPods, I think, are even in existence anymore, right? And so therefore, don't get so caught up with a product, right? Build a product that's going to be lasting, but most importantly, fall in love with your client and the idea of service. So it's negotiation. Negotiate. Vision. Visualize. Here's something that I envisioned 2014 when I first came into the idea and the understanding of what knowledge, what this whole thing it is that I want to be, who it is that I want to be as a motivational speaker and leadership training. I first started off with a life coaching certification. And then migrated into what is called career coaching, and left from career coaching and evolved into leadership consulting. I have written 3 books. I got 2 more that I'm working on. I have 3 more that I'm working on. One of them you don't see on this picture here. But my first book was called How to Beat Elephants on Ice. It was coaching strategies. First of all, how did an elephant get on ice? And I have to show you a better picture of it. Looking at the elephant has on what are called assassin gloves. And then they're playing a game of chess. And on that chessboard, the elephant looks like he's winning. But there's a backdoor move that the person can make to beat the elephant. That's what that. The second one is 64 tips to get employed and stay employed. This one was an ebook that I put on Amazon Kindle. more than I do my successes. Because a lot of people can avoid the same pitfalls and failures that I went through if they knew how someone went through it and what they did to overcome it. So 64 tips to get employed and stay employed. It's broken into 4 sections. Why, the application, the resume, and then the promotion. You see? And so when I had tips in each one of those sections to help people to not get a job or just a job, but to get employed and to stay employed. So they can use that mindset to build something for themselves. They can build that mindset to go and get this job and stay on that job. They can know how to deal with that job. And I'm going to show you something here in just a few minutes. So my third book is the one that's in the middle. Leadership Is, the one I have copies here today in the back there. Leadership Is 10 Principles of Success for the First-Time Manager. Being in managerial and leadership roles in different genres, different sectors and different industries, I learned a lot. And I learned a lot from what I did not know. I learned a lot from what was not taught to me, you see. And so I wanted to put it in a book to help other first-time managers and people that want to be in leadership positions. Here's some pitfalls to look out for. Here's some principles to embrace that'll help you to get past those pitfalls. Then the next one that I'm writing, I'm in the process of writing it now as I'm doing promotion with that one. It's called the Middle School Challenge. The Middle School Challenge. Breaking the Behavior Code. The Middle School Challenge. That's coming from those 11 years of working in a middle school as a behavior interventionist, or what they call a dean of students. And I'm going to tell you something. At the core of everything any leader ever does at any point is always service. And at the core of that is building relationships. No, that's not at the core. Service is at the core. Building relationships comes as a byproduct of service. Building relationships. All right? And so the next book I'm going to write, I don't think it's so much, she don't know about it too much as of yet, but it's going to be a co-authored book with my wife and myself. It's called 25 Years and Counting. How we did it. It's a marriage and relationship book. See? And so, yeah, I don't think she know about that yet. So.
I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
In terms of, you did say that you take a lot of your own experiences and
Yes.
failures and successes, and that is what goes into those books.
Yes, ma'am.
And in terms of the things that you've learned in the middle schools and all that, what was the biggest thing about yourself that you may have had to shift or had to change, or that biggest thing that you learned that you put into these books? As a whole?
Stop looking at everything as a problem, and then stop looking at every problem as a nail. So then I can utilize other tools besides a hammer. That's what I learned, is that everything is not a problem. What's his name? Brian Tracy says that there are 3 ways of looking at a problem besides calling it a problem. Number 1, look at it as a challenge. Number 2, look at it as a situation. But the most importantly, number 3, look at it as an opportunity. An opportunity. So that was what I learned, is stop looking at everything as a problem. Start looking at things as an opportunity. Yes, sir.
Can you repeat that one more time?
Yes, sir. So instead of using the word problem, use the word challenge. Use the word situation. Use the word opportunity. Many of us in here have probably heard of this guy, Eric Thomas, right? He talks about how there are 84,650 seconds in a day. Every one of those seconds is an opportunity. An opportunity to change someone's life, to change your own life, to make someone's life better, to make your own life better. It's an opportunity. Okay? So, in visualizing, here's a few things that I want us to think about. The first one is proactive interference. Who knows what proactive interference is? I'm telling you, I got some people here that really help to unlock something in my mind. So I'm good. So what is proactive interference? I'm going to tell you what proactive interference is. Proactive interference is when you have learned something before and it prevents you from learning something new. A lot of people have proactive interference. That's why you may not see as many people here right now as should be, because they were thinking that I don't want to learn something new. But this is not anything new. This is a leadership mindset refresher. You ever been on your computer and your computer screen starts looking like it's dull and whatnot, right? You have to hit the refresh button sometimes in order to reload the data that's found encrypted or encoded in that page. You see, and there's two things that you got to keep in mind that leaders, please write this one down. Two things that leaders are driven by. First one is the mission. Leaders are driven by the mission. Second one is they're driven by data or data, however you want to use the pronunciation of the A. Leaders are driven by mission and they're driven by data. Okay? So reactive interference. Who knows what reactive interference is? Reactive interference is the opposite, meaning that when you learn something new, it prevents you from remembering the old stuff that you learned. So you have proactive interference that stops you from learning new things or prohibits the learning of things new, and then reactive interference is the prohibits you from forgetting, prohibits you from retaining the old stuff that you learned. Okay? So now the law of attraction. Who knows what the law of attraction is? Who've heard of the law of attraction? Who've heard of this book called The Secret? Anyone? Okay. The law of attraction. Many of my Christian brothers and Muslim brothers who are in the religious sectors don't really believe in the law of attraction. But I read in the Bible myself, which he says, as a man thinketh, so is he. As a man thinketh, so is he. That's the law of attraction. Because what you think about, you bring about. What you think about, you bring about.
I like that.
Yes, ma'am. What you think about, you bring about. If you can conceive it, you can achieve it. If you can conceive it, you can achieve it. That's the law of attraction. What happens is you begin to pull things into existence just simply from your thinking. Just simply from your thinking. You begin to see things. You begin to, let me tell you something. I thought so much about doing this when I was in Minneapolis, right? About, being a leadership speaker and motivational speaker and whatnot. And so as I'm thinking about this, here comes all of these different transactions that's taking place that's leading me closer and closer and closer to different opportunities to do that which I was thinking about. So as mom and them, dad and them, whoever used to tell you, always be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. Always be careful. All right? So, mission statement. So, mission statement. Our mission is to close the leadership gap by discovering, educating, developing, and activating leadership potential through drive, focus, and teamwork. That's JM Leadership Consulting. That's our mission statement. The great Walter Bond here says, a personal mission statement becomes the DNA for every other decision we make. A personal mission statement. In other words, it's why you do what you do. Why do you do what you do? Sometimes people look at opportunities and just jump on those opportunities, but don't know why they want those opportunities. It just vibratory feels good. And the vibration just feels good. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question about that.
Yes, ma'am.
What advice or what would you say to a person who is trying to figure out why or figure out their motivation behind what they do, or finding a purpose in general? Because I think that is one of the first steps
Absolutely.
into, before you develop everything else, you have
Absolutely.
to figure out what is it that I can hone in on about myself.
Absolutely. That's one of the things we're actually going to address in just a few minutes. We're going to help. We have what is called a mirror exercise that we're going to do, and that helps to address that very question.
Gotcha.
Okay? Thank you for your question. Okay, vision. In your mission statement, you got to know what your vision is. And your vision is who you serve, how you serve, and the resources that you use. Who you serve, how you serve, and the resources that you use. Okay? So we're going to do some exercises here. So you have your paper right there. We're going to help. We're going to help with developing a personal mission statement. You may have a mission statement for your company, but what we want to do is develop a personal mission statement. And if you already have one, you can still write that down at the end of it, but we still want you to follow through with this exercise. Okay? So, the 3 stages of the mission statement development is what we're going to do. Because I'm telling you, if you don't know, don't have a connection to why you do what you do, then the burnout will take place. You be like, man, I'm sick of this. Yes, sir.
Do you have multiple mission statements?
You're going to have a personal mission statement, that will address why you do everything that you do. Now, if you have multiple companies that you're trying to develop, you can have specific mission statements for those companies. But even developing and establishing those companies is going to all drive back to your own personal mission statement.
Kind of like a thesis statement in the essay.
Yes, sir. It's your statement. It's why you do everything that you do. Establish this company. For instance, right? So, why are you getting up in the morning? Because I got to go to work. Why are you going to work? Because I got to make money. What you going to do with the money? I got to pay bills. Why you need to pay bills? Because my family needs to be comfortable. What does that mean for you? You want to drive that point completely home so that you will have a full connection and establishment of your why. So then when you get up and you go and get this job, right, as a customer service representative, and then this customer comes in, they talking like, this price was too high. This was not advertised on the thing. This is not even in the paper. Why do you guys do this? And they throw the paper down and stuff like that, and then you don't just jump all out of your clothes and your whatever like that. Say, look, you take all of that, what she say, right? And there's 3 circles you look at when a person is complaining like that. 3 circles you look at. The first one is you're looking at the behavior that person is displaying. The second one is you got to think about, okay, why is she doing this behavior? The price is too high. She don't have enough money. She had to sacrifice to get what she got. And the inner circle is she really wants to be protected. She really wants to be secure. She really wants to be financially stable. So most people, when we're seeing people complaining, we're seeing people, especially children in school, especially as a leader, and we see our employees complaining. When we see that happen, we don't go past the first circle. We get stuck on the behavior. We don't look past why the behavior exists. And if that's why, then who is this person for real? I learned this process going through it's called Innocence Classroom. There's a guy named Alex Pate, right, who co-authored the book that became the movie Amistad. He is an older movie about a slave revolt. He has this training, this company called Innocence Classroom. And he gave this training that was dealing with how teachers and administration should really address children in schools. And how he was talking about how children have this backpack on, everyday psychological backpack on, every day that they come to school filled with negative reinforcement. I hate myself, my daddy don't like me, my mama's on drugs, and blah, blah, blah. So they carry around this backpack every day. The same way employees who come into a job carry around a backpack every day. Man, I'm about to get fired. I'm running late again. I don't have money for lunch. I'm almost out of gas. Or, I really hate this job. They have this backpack on. A leader's job is to unpack that negative reinforcement and repack it with positive reinforcement. That's the job of a school teacher. That is the job of a principal, school administrator. That's the job of a leader. Unpack the negative, repack the positive. Okay? All right. So, on your packets you have what is called a Y compass. It's the first page on your packet. It's a Y compass. What we're going to do is strive to develop a mission statement. So, but before we do that, there's 3 things that we want you to do. We want you to look at why, W-H-Y. Stands for what harmonizes you, who harmonizes you, what hinders you, who hinders you. Okay? I'm going to help you out with the last one. I'm going to tell you something. Once you go ahead, you fill it out. But I'm going to help you out with the last one about who hinders you. A hint to the wise is sufficient. Okay, but here we go. So if you can take a few minutes to think about, what I mean by harmonize is what brings you into harmony, joy, oneness. What is that thing? And then who is that person that harmonizes you? What hinders you? What are things that hinders you from being in harmony? And who hinders you from being in harmony? So take a few minutes to do that.